Hi, I'm John Rubicki, and I will show you how to perform the Insight D900 live defect detection demo to show customers how easily and quickly a user can create a working job with deep learning tools. While I open up the Insight Vision Suite software, I'm going to describe the physical setup I have. I have the standard ASE demo stand with a D900 sales demo unit configured for a 2.3 megapixel configuration. And assembled to my D900, I have an integrated light, the autofocus accessory with a 16mm S-mount lens, a polarizer cover, and it's powered by a 5-amp power supply. And running the demo, I have a Windows-based GPU-enabled PC with a Insight ViDi training demo. Now on the left of the software, when it opens up, you have your network tree, and I'm going to select the D900 that's connected directly to my computer, and I'm going to choose the connect button. Now, unlike other Insight-based products, this software has a little bit more functionality available to help customers easily customize their job. But like other Insight-based products, programming happens primarily in a spreadsheet, which is the first thing you see when the job is created. Now, the first step in any application is to set up your image. And so we're going to open the A0 cell, which like Insight Explorer contains the acquire image function. And we're going to set several settings. We're going to set the exposure. We're going to set the gain. We're going to set whether or not we have HDR+, which we want. And we're going to use the focus function because we have the autofocus module, and we're going to use the autofocus button. Now, once this is complete, we're going to begin collecting images. And the way to do that is to navigate down to the film strip and select the record button. And once that's activated, you can simply trigger 6 good quality images. And we'll just move the business card around in the field of view. You can also cycle through different business cards if you prefer. And once we have 6 images, we're going to create 2 types of defects. The first defect is we're going to put something man-made across the image. And the second is we're going to flip the business card over, and we're going to capture an image of the pre-printed defect on that side. So at this point, we've collected the images we need to set up this job, and now our primary goal is to demystify the spreadsheet and to show customers just how easy and simple programming in a spreadsheet environment can be. So we're going to focus on 3 things. First is we need to fixture our image. And so we're going to enter a train PatMax redline tool. And I'm going to select the pattern region, and I'm going to come across where the Cognex logo is. I'm going to navigate and rotate my region until I encapsulate that pattern. And once that function is complete, I'm going to enter another, but instead of typing, I'm going to navigate to the toolbox, in the pattern area. I'm going to drag the Find PatMax Redline tool directly into the spreadsheet cell, which is going to give me the same result. And now I'm going to maximize my find region because I want to look for that Cognex logo anywhere in the image, and I'm going to point it to the pattern that I just trained. And now again, we're ready to go. And the third function we're going to enter is a ViDiDetect tool because we want to identify defects in the area of the business card beneath the Cognex logo. And once I type in ViDi and then a D, I'm going to use the down arrow to show that there's an autofill functionality in this software as well. In just a few more steps, I'm going to point the region of interest to the fixtured PatMax Redline tool from earlier so that my region moves when my business card moves. And then I'm going to define the region that I want to inspect. And because I have that pre-printed defect still on here, I'm going to make sure that my region encapsulates that pattern. And then the last thing is I'm going to drag this show bar out from the property sheet and into the spreadsheet. And again, that's just a different way to use the external referencing from the property sheet. So now I'm ready to open the ViDi editor. And this is the same ViDi interface in all of the software that expose ViDi tools. And to get started with the tool, I'm going to add the images. So I'm going to come to the film strip, use the Control-A hotkey, and I'm going to drag and drop the images into the ViDi view panel. And once this is done, it's going to automatically fixture those images. So if I zoom out in the main image area, and then I scroll through the different images, you'll see how it has successfully fixtured all of those images. And at this point, I don't need the film strip anymore, so I'm just going to hide it. And now I need to tell the ViDi tool what's the ground truth, what's a good business card. And I'm going to use a little cheat. I'm going to use the accept views for everything, call everything good. And then I know I have 2 bad images that I'm going to correct. And I'm simply going to left click just to show how easy it is to change the labeling across different images. And that's all we need to do, except give it time to train. So I'm going to come to the brain, I'm going to click train. And I'm going to select that I want to train on 50% of the good images that I've labeled. And I'm going to let it randomly choose those images. And if I want to identify which images it chose to do the training, I can simply navigate up and look for the train logo in the upper left of the images. And the images that do not have a train are going to be used to validate the performance of the neural network that's been trained. And during this time, we have around 3 minutes to let the customers ask questions. And that's a really important time to gauge what they're thinking, because quite a lot can be going through their head at this point. And so that needs to be the main focus of this time. But if you have a timid customer and you have some time, there are a few things that you can demo. The first is we're going to come back to the spreadsheet and we're going to use the change split function to move the image from out behind the spreadsheet to next to or on top of the spreadsheet. And this is really nice because for many customers, even in today's Insight products, it's very hard for them to complete their job setup in that overlay view. Next, we're going to ask customers to think about what they would be doing during this time. And probably what they would be doing is thinking about what data they want to present to the HMI and preparing the rest of their job, which they can still work on while the tool is training. So let's come to the PatMax Redline score and we'll right click and we'll publish this cell. And you'll see that now I've added a score function that's now tagged. And there's 2 other things that we can do. We can also tag this menu so that once I'm online, I won't be seeing this spreadsheet anymore, I can change what types of views I want to see. So let's label that menu. And the last thing might be we want to see how long this job is taking to process while it's online. So we can add a special function called getAllTime. And we can point it to A0. And that's going to give us, once the job is online, not just the acquisition time, but also the time to complete every other cell in the spreadsheet. And let's also tag this getAllTime to say job time so that we can also add it to the web page. So let's navigate to the web page tab. Every new job comes with 2 preloaded web pages, a main page, which is the default first page when it loads on, and a camera setup page, which we're not going to need for this demo. So let's open the main page and we'll zoom out just a little bit. And then I'm going to search on the tags tab for those 3 tags I created. The score, I'm going to expand. I'm going to drag that score over into the spreadsheet, into the web page. I'm going to search for the menu. And I'm going to drag that over. And I'm going to search for the job time. And I'm going to drag that over. And it's really just that easy. Each of these results are now linked to the spreadsheet in a one-way direction. And then the menu tag is linked in 2 ways. So that when I change it here, it actually changes the function so that I can see different things as a result of that tool. And if there's still time remaining while the ViDiDetect tool is training, you can also use this time to ask the customer to make their own defects so that we can really test the power of the tool when we're demoing it. But in many cases, the training will be done by this point, and so you can do a couple things. Again, I'd like to zoom out on the image, and then I'd like to open the database overview. And then we can see that there's a big divide between the good images and the bad, which isn't surprising because we made some pretty large defects. So if we scroll down to those defects and we select the last image, we can begin to drag the threshold away from the good images to identify just how narrowly we want to identify defects. And we want to set that threshold such that the highlighted area just barely encapsulates that pre-printed defect of silver pixels along the black stripe. And then we're going to set the bad threshold around the same area. And now we're going to come back to the spreadsheet. And before we go any further, remember we started a new job that's not saved on the D900. So we're going to save it because we don't want to lose what we just did. So let's save this job, and we're going to save it right to the device because we didn't have that many images in this job. We're going to replace that job that I've already have saved on my D900. And once it's done saving, there's two more things that we really need to do. The first is we want to show off another functionality in the software, and that's we want to insert the getters from the ViDiDetect tool. And that's a function that's available in all tools in this software. So we're going to right-click on ViDiDetect and insert the getters, and you'll see it's going to insert all of these results from the tool. And the last is we're going to select the past getter, and we're going to come to the insert menu, and we're going to insert a watch cell to define this is the cell that determines if the job passes or fails. And at this point, we're ready to go. So we can select on the ViDiDetect tool, and we can take a live image to make sure we haven't missed anything. And it looks like we are indeed ready to start the demo. So let's put this job online, and then let's navigate to the Home tab, and then let's open the Web HMI so that we're not actually watching it from the Insight Vision Suite software, but we're going to watch this from the Chrome browser, just like customers are going to do with their devices that are on the network. And getting started in the demo, we're going to grab that business card by the side, and we're going to change the menu option from hide all to show input and result graphics so we can see the region that it's inspecting. And we're going to change the perspective on this. So we're going to tilt it up, we're going to tilt it back, we're going to tilt it left, and we're going to tilt it right. You're going to see it's passing in all of those cases, even though there's quite a bit of variation there. And another thing we can do is we can cover the light physically so that we can change the shading on the image. And again, this is just going to show you just how robust this is because the pattern itself isn't changing. There's just a little bit of variance. But then we're going to show off some of the defects. And the first defect is always just to check. We're going to find that pixels on the back side of the card. You can put different cards there. Someone might have torn a card. You can put that card in there. Someone might have scratched up a card. You can put that under. And if the defects are a little bit hard to see because of the marking from the tool, we can change the result from input and results graphics to results graphics only. And then we can zoom into the image. You can see the types of defects that are there. You can even make a defect live in front of the customer. And now remember, the point of this demo isn't to wow them with the power of detecting defects in a business card, but it's to show them just how easily and quickly they can get a job up and running using a deep learning tool on a smart camera. And so at this point, if they're impressed, we're going to pivot to one of two things. If they're interested in OCR, we're going to load the OCR live demo, and we're going to perform that demo. Or if they're more interested in understanding what other types of applications we can solve, then we're going to pivot back to the PC and we're going to load videos, or we're going to emulate jobs of other applications from our Insight ViDi application database. I hope you found this demo helpful. Happy demoing.